Ayo, welcome into the CHGO White Sox. My bad. The White Sox podcast. We're not doing a pregame show or a postgame show, so I'm not saying pregame show or postgame show. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Guys, you change one little thing, and it just throws you off. I'm Sean Anderson. I hope.
Sean, we got all these people saying, oh, get this season over with, end the season. It's so bad. I keep saying you are gonna miss baseball of any kind come winter. Sean, one day without a game and your life is screwed up right now. You don't know what's going on.
You're not wrong. And it just shows you that all of us are human, right? On any given day, we can be 500. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. I'm the host of the CHGO White Sox podcast. You can follow, I did the follow stuff. Alongside me, as always, Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's the CHGO White Sox beat writer. And Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's the CHGO White Sox community leader. Sleepy Harold says White Sox sad off day show. It's a sad one. I'm off kiltered. It's raining. The office is so damn hot. We can't even go in and occupy it. And we're getting called out by fellow sister stations. So it's a lot to cover here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. How you guys feeling without a day of baseball today? Apparently, I am thrown off.
It's great. I mean, it was great and hot earlier today, cooled off with a torrential downpour. Man, I was walking my dog at the same time, so I was just worried about branches falling off the trees and sticking me in the stomach or something like that. So that was not the fun part, but it was kind of exciting part of my day, walking him back from a torrential downpour. But otherwise, it's been great. Don't have to worry about a White Sox disappointment today, and just looking forward to this show in particular.
It got dark up here in the city of Chicago there for a while. I was writing up the mailbag that I put up just a short while ago, and I was like, oh, I got to turn the lights on in here, even though it's the middle of the day. It got that dark with the thunderstorm. So the sun is shining once again, though, on Chicagoland. So all is well.
And hey, the CHGO softball game apparently isn't canceled, so at least it wasn't too much rain. So a lot of good news for people who might be partaking in that. Herb, you doing it tonight?
No, I'm hurt forever.
All right, you have the pinched nerve and everything.
Thing, yeah.
And Vinny, I know the past 2 times you tried to do anything with your wife's team, whether it be kickball or softball, you've gotten hurt, so you're probably out.
I'm an injury waiting to happen.
And we can't guilt you with your wife. Your wife doesn't work for us.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, exactly. I can just tell you guys to buzz off.
Right. And what's up, Joe, Connor? Good to see you guys today. And as other Sean says, Sox can't lose today. So it's a great day to be a White Sox fan. The 63 and 65 Chicago White Sox fan. White Sox. We'll talk about if they're the most 500 team ever. We'll go through some mailbag questions that Vinny answered today and that we had in our Discord. And along with that, we'll talk about some Dylan Cease and Cy Young numbers and see if he can sneak his way to becoming Cy Cease. But let's start off with our sister station PHNX and how they responded to our headline that we just rattled off. And be fair, after a very disappointing 3-2 loss where your ace had his best performance of the season. So Steven, you can roll the PHNX clip.
Honestly, Derek, and I was literally thinking about this yesterday. I wasn't necessarily planning on talking about this today, but I feel like we have to now that CHGO is referred to the Diamondbacks as being lowly. I am quite confident that if the Chicago White Sox were in the NL West, they would have a worse record than the Diamondbacks.
Speak on it, Jesse.
They would have a worse record. Right. There's honestly not really a question in my mind.
Jesse Friedman.
There's not even a question in my mind, really, because the White Sox are 63 and 65. But you have to keep in mind that the White Sox this season will play 38 games against the Royals and the Tigers, who are probably two of the 3 worst teams in baseball. I think Oakland is probably a little bit worse. I guess maybe the Nationals and the Pirates are there. 2 of the 5 worst teams in baseball. And they are both worse than the Colorado Rockies, probably by a significant margin. And then you look at the top of the AL Central Division, Derek. You've got the Cleveland Guardians, who have 67 wins, despite playing in a very easy division. And you've got the Minnesota Twins, who are 3 games over 500. Both of those teams are probably the rough equivalent of the San Francisco Giants, if you put them in the NL West. So you're looking at 2 divisions here that are on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. And the White Sox are still 63 and 65. Their record is still only 4 games better than the Diamondbacks, despite all of that. So I don't know where exactly CHGO is coming from with this. I think it is complete nonsense. Honestly, I think the Diamondbacks are probably a better team. Not next year, not in the future, but like right now, today, I think the Diamondbacks are a better team.
That's Jesse Friedman of the PHNX podcast. Along with him is Derek Montilla of the PHNX podcast. Herb, I liked your first response. So what did you make of our PHNX brethren calling us out like that? Brethren.
Just brethren. There's
brethren.
2 E's, not 3.
Brethren.
There you go.
I felt that, I never like when people take offense to somebody talking about their team as if it is a personal attack. Like, are the Arizona Diamondbacks not lowly? Like, where's the lie? Why are you taking offense to the White Sox podcast calling your team a lowly team? They are. He just said they're 4 games worse than the White Sox record-wise. And yes, he broke it down about how the different divisions are different. But 2 things, as Vinny likes to say, 2 things can be true. The White Sox could be lowly, and the Arizona Diamondbacks can be lowly. So I don't understand. If you guys want the mid-off championship, you guys got it. D-backs mid-off champions 2022.
We'll get the Rockies in here too. I mean, we it's not like DNVR is killing it with their baseball team. So we could just have a mid-off with the 3 baseball teams. Hey, the Cubs can be included too. We have all 4 middling baseball teams in the All-City network.
The White Sox played the Colorado Rockies, I think, in the middle of September. So we can finish off the series and see if who's the middest of all of us.
Vinny, any takes? That's a beat writer out there just saying, oh, yeah, the Diamondbacks can, would beat the White Sox this year. If they were playing, had a better record, if they're in the NL West, they'd be better than the White Sox.
I mean, the Diamondbacks did just beat the White Sox 3 games in a row. So if you want to go with the old head-to-head, there that is. But, yeah, like Herb said, that's the point I was going to make. Like, just you got 2 bad teams. Okay, congrats. Like, they're also bad too. Obviously, White Sox fans are probably angrier with the results that their team has put up versus the Diamondbacks, who probably weren't expected to do much of anything, versus the White Sox, who were expected to be so great, and they have vastly underperformed. So certainly the White Sox are probably a more underperforming team than the Diamondbacks are. But that being said, I don't think anybody's rushing to buy, or rushing to place those bets on Diamondbacks winning the NL West next year or anything like that. So I really don't care. Whatever they played, the D-backs won. The White Sox are not great. The D-backs are not great. It's not really something we need to split hairs over.
No, it's not something we need to split hairs over, but I'm petty. So I'm going to split a couple hairs. And hey, also, what's lowly? My grammar. All right. My grammar clearly struggles on a day-to-day basis. But Jesse, on today's podcast, you guys are dedicating, I think, the entire podcast to Corbin Carroll making his major league debut. You referred to it as the biggest moment in franchise history since 2017. All the reason we called that team lowly is because of expectations. We all 3 of us expected the White Sox to be a 90-win team. And what they have done is just absolutely mitted those expectations. They have been so underwhelming as a baseball team, so uninspiring that their GM wouldn't even add at the deadline. And here's the thing. When the Arizona Diamondbacks come to town, when you are in the middle of a division race, unlike your team, what you are expected to do against teams that are worse than you, it was 7 games better than you before you swept us, you are expected to at least win 2 of 3. And with the White Sox having Johnny Cueto and Dylan Cease on the mound on Friday and Sunday, they should have, the expectations were that they were going to win 2 out of 3 against your ball club. This isn't the biggest day in White Sox history since 2017, right? That was the 2 playoff appearances that we've had since then. And what we were expecting was the 3rd straight year of playoff, appearances. We were expecting the 2nd straight division. You guys are not even close to contending in that division. When was the last time the Arizona Diamondbacks won the division? It's probably got to be, after or before 2011, because that's when the Dodgers started getting real good to the point where they made the rest of the NL West inevitable, pointless. Again, I don't know if my grammar's right here. Is inevitable the right word? Probably not.
Probably not. No,
probably not.
Right.
No. Yeah.
But I don't get it. You know what? The White Sox also lowly, and I would love to get up here and defend this team more, but they're 63 and 65. They should be at first place or in first place of the AL Central right now. And they're not. And it just like you, Herb, I think it's just I have no energy to defend this White Sox team because they give me no energy to defend them. And you look at the Kansas City Royals. Hey, you should beat the Kansas City Royals in 3 games, but you have a losing record against the Kansas City Royals. The teams that are worse are the team that is worse than the Colorado Rockies, as Jesse said. So I have no expectations for this White Sox team from August 29th to the end of the season here. So they're both lowly. We're right on that.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And Sleepy Harold says what you said. The joke's on Jesse. The Sox can't beat Kansas City. So ha ha ha. Our 63 wins most of them haven't come versus the Kansas City Royals because they've been beating the White Sox ass. Those 3 games coming up this week is going to be real rough.
Yeah. Hey, Jesse, are your fans having sell the team signs showing up behind the dugout? Ours are ha 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 ha. We're in a better state than you are. Thank you, Stephen. Glad we just have this.
What a great photo.
Unlocked.
I don't know who took that from the AP, but that's excellent.
It is excellent. It's USA Today, I think, our services, but the AP got another one like that. Herb, is your dog okay?
I don't have
that'd be my cat. My cat
that's your cat.
is meowing quite a bit.
What's your cat's name?
Machka is the cat's name.
Machka. What's up,
yes.
Machka? Yeah, I got the door closed, and I think my cat's asleep. So
if I could just
go ahead. See you later.
Yeah,
totally. And he's got his headphones out, so I can make this little joke of a response. Funny when we flash sell the team signs. Vinny leaves.
I get it. It's just
fixed.
Okay, Vinny, I made a joke about the sell the team sign. We flashed the sell the team sign, and then you left, and I said, "Oh, Vinny, very, very interesting timing there." Your cat,
my bid is in.
your cat is very excited about buying the team. What'd you make of that? You weren't on the ballpark on Saturday, but what was the ballpark like on Sunday after they were out in the outfield and then made it behind home plate as well?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the fans are restless. Everybody knows that. I mean, what was the sound that you heard after each 3 of these games finished up at Guaranteed Rate Field? It was loud, and it was as loud as it's been all year. I mean, certainly it's been there for most of the season. People have been disappointed for a while. You know what I mean? Those Fire Tony chants were getting going as early as late April or early May, if memory serves. And now you've got obviously the biggest visual representation there, but people have been mad all year. And listen, the first thing that I said when I saw that is, wow, how much those people pay for those tickets to sit to get in the ballpark with the sell the team banner. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody's so mad. But you have 30-something thousand people there on Friday night. So I mean, we get caught in a hyper-focused zone here where we think that everybody that we hear from in our comments or on our Twitter feeds or just talking to each other in forums like this is representative of the entire fan base. Sometimes that's very much, not sometimes, that's all the time not true, right? I mean, there are a lot of people out there who don't have Twitter who still watch the White Sox every night. And there are a lot of people, who just enjoy baseball and they want to go to the field to just enjoy baseball and they like having a nice day out and everything like that. Not everybody maybe is as full of so much frustration as the folks that live it day to day, like we do and a lot of the people that we talk to do. So, I really think that when you see something like that, it is a very nice, it's not nice, but it's a very accurate representation of how a lot of people feel. But there were a lot of people in the ballpark each of the last 3 days, that's for sure. So when you've seen teams and situations before that are really not good, I think back to some of those Pittsburgh Pirates teams from so many years back. Stadiums are empty. I mean, think of the Oakland A's. Obviously, they've got their own issues with their stadium not being a very fun one to go to. But at the same time, they're a last place team. They're one of the worst teams in baseball, and I can't imagine that they're putting anybody in the seats there at the Coliseum in Oakland. So obviously, different situations in every big league city. But there are a lot of teams that I've seen over my life of watching baseball that did not have anything close to the crowds that were there each of the last 3 days on the South Side.
Right. It's interesting that you bring up the crowds. So on Friday, I was there. Maybe I was contributing to some of the boos, just for fun. Everyone starts booing.
Oh,
It's
how
tough to
dare
join
you?
in.
How dare you?
It's tough to join in, or hard not to join in. But on Friday, on August 26th, they had 33,000 people for Elvis night, celebrating White Sox legend. Elvis is Andrew's birthday. Very nice of them to all show up, all 33,000 of them. And then 25,000 on the night of the Sell the Team banner being flashed. And then on Sunday for Dylan Cease, 29,000. Compare that to the last weekend series with Detroit, 33,000, 29,000, 32,000. So there's a noticeable dip on that Saturday, going from 29 to 25,000. And one thing I did see on the internet circulating around, it apparently, and it wasn't like this on Elvis night, but it might have been where the capacity was under 30K. But I think at the 100 level, the gates were turned. So you didn't need to check. There were no ushers making sure that you had a 100 level ticket, making basically the 100 level open for anybody to walk around, which to me signals, I don't know, Herb, you've been around this team a little bit longer. What do you usually think of the 100 level being open like that?
Well, yeah, they do that sometimes on purpose to, have all the people in the lower bowl fill out the seats and enjoy all of the ballpark, which is nice. They should do that all the time. And I understand the reason not because of the U boys attacking Tom Gamboa back in the day. But yeah, attendance is down, but I'm kind of with Vinny here. Like, I enjoy going to the ballpark. I enjoy the atmosphere, whether the team's good, bad, or indifferent. I might be a different fan. I get mad at the team specifically, and we do this on the show all the time. But when I go to the ballpark, I'm there to enjoy the atmosphere. I'm there to enjoy all the things that a ballpark brings to you: the food, the drink, the people, the smells, the sounds, the sights, all that stuff. And so I never have a bad time at the ballpark. And so, yes, I get why the people say sell the team, and I've been on that train forever. And, I think it's a activity in fruitlessness. It's not going to happen. He's not going to sell the team ever, I don't believe. So why say it? But a protest is a protest. If they want to protest inside the ballpark, and a silent protest where they're just stating their opinion to a massive amount of people in the crowd and massive amount of people who are watching on television, to each their own. I applaud them for doing it, but it's not my type of thing to do the protest inside the ballpark, because I don't know if they get in trouble after that. Bringing in signs like that, because you're not supposed to bring in extra things like that into the ballpark. So hopefully they just take their signs away or just kick them out of the game and make nothing else of the atmosphere. But I don't blame fans if this last month they want to stay away. I don't blame fans if they want to go to games, because, as Vinny said, the day it ends, we're going to be like, fuck.
Yeah.
We got to wait until February until watch some baseball. Yeah, it was shitty baseball, but it's baseball. Feed me that.
Yeah, I mean, I was really itching for baseball when the lockout happened. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the off season is definitely not the worst part of the season. But this season, definitely, again, going back to the conversation about the Diamondbacks, expectations. I mean, this expectations and the expectations for this team and what they have actually been. I mean, we could see it in our comments, and we see it basically every day for all the people that are tuning in, like Steven, like Rusted, like our guy Wayne, like Chirac Bobby. It's really getting on him. I mean, the Jesus Shuttlesworth guy that we had to ban for 5 minutes is apparently punching walls. Like, I think that, obviously there is different spectrums. Not everyone's on Twitter. Not everyone is pessimistic as other people. Not everyone's as reactive as everyone else is. But I mean, this is truly, I think, concerning. We talked about it yesterday too. If they hit a certain attendance or don't hit a certain attendance threshold, the tax goes up for people that they have to pay for the people that are coming into the ballpark. So I just do think that the signs are showing that the team will sell probably after 2023. One interesting note I think that was brought up on Sox Machine is the fact that maybe the MLB wouldn't want 3 teams selling at once. Right now, the Nationals are selling, and the Angels just announced that they're exploring a sale. So I just think that might be something that slows down the White Sox sale, but I wouldn't be surprised if the team went up for sale after 2023. So it's going to be an interesting, at least, point here. What happens after this? Because, we're now seeing more crowd and fan angst. If they start winning, that's definitely going to go away. We're going to start seeing, again, 30,000+ people in the ballpark. If they're first place at the end of September, White Sox fans want to support this team. And I don't think that this is truly representative of what this team feels, but I think this is what fans mean when they mean accountability. Just because the expectations for this 2021 season were set, or 2022 season were set so high. And it's just been so lowly, just to use a word from your dictionary there. So, it's been a tough watch. I don't know. And we see Tony, you're describing him, how mad he was after, last night's game or yesterday's game. I think it's getting to people. Like, I think it's getting to the players, and it's getting to Tony. They've been pressing since April. Tony's getting madder and madder. And he says, why get angry or why get upset? Do something about it. And then they go lose 2 straight. So I don't know what he wants them to do. It's a great time to be a White Sox fan. PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days until the football season with a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet's Power Hour unlock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sign up for PointsBet now using the code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. And don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not it. If you make a $51 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from a CHGO locker. Download the PointsBet app today and use that code CHGO to take advantage of this limited time offer. You'll want to get that free CHGO membership because we got great articles that are written on all CHGO, like Vinnie's Mailbag, that he answered your questions from the CHGO Discord. So if you are a CHGO member, you get to read Vinnie's piece, you get to ask him questions in the Discord, and you get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. So this is a fantastic, fantastic deal. Sign up with the best sportsbook around in PointsBets. Don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. And after you have a great workout, maybe you're pumping iron today inside because of the rain, I'll have to tell you about Owen. Stands for only what you need. Owen is 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. It is a snack. It is supposed to give you that boost of energy. If you go out and work like Nicholas Moriano does of the CHGO Bears podcast, or maybe Justin Fields of the CHGO Bears, the Chicago Bears, the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, the reason he had a great preseason game is because he's pounding Owen on the sideline. He follows a plant-based diet, does it on the sidelines, drinking that chocolate one after the first touchdown, drinking that vanilla one after the second touchdown, drinking that salted caramel after the third touchdown. It's keeping him boosted. It's free of artificial ingredients. It's allergen friendly. There's no gluten or dairy, and it's easily digestible. So go take advantage of this fantastic offer. Owen and CHGO have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. That's LIVEOWYN.com. And with code CHGO20, you can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowen.com. Join me and Justin Fields and try Owen, only what you need. All right, let's go to hey, there you go. We got Steven popping up. Finally got me. He ordered Owen. So there you go. What'd you get, Steven? Herb, you like the chocolate one, right?
I do. The dark chocolate one's delicious. I bought it at the store, but yeah, I initially tried the salted caramel one, and that one's right up my alley. It's perfect.
There you go. I like the chilled salted caramel one. That's very nice. And Vinnie, probably after pounding out your mailbag questionnaire, you had to probably pound an Owen. So how is it like taking those questions from the fans, and how are we going to survive the last 162, which was, I think, was your first question?
First of all, I'm waiting till Owen comes out with a Mai Tai flavor before I start pounding them regularly. But yeah, no, it was good. Obviously, the questions are reflective of how people are feeling right now about this team. What I do think is interesting and kind of sad, considering there's a month left in the season, a lot of people focusing on the offseason, a lot of people wanting to know about the prospects and where guys who are currently on the team are going to be positioned for the long term rather than just the remainder of this season. Obviously, a lot of injuries are happening right now to the White Sox, so a lot of topics on that as well. Not a lot of good news to give to folks today when answering those questions. But certainly it's going to be a very interesting offseason. The thing that's funny is the first question out of the box, and I think this was one of the ones that was asked in the Discord today, was, is there any reason to keep watching this team over the last month of the year? And guys, I got to keep bringing it up just because it remains a mathematical fact. Of course there is. They could win the division. That's the reason. I don't know if either of any of us would say, yeah, there's a good chance of that happening the way they've been playing, not just recently, but for the last 5 months. But stranger things have happened in baseball than a team getting hot in a real bad division and edging out a couple of other mediocre teams, and that's nothing against the Cleveland Guardians, who I think have been for lack of a better term, the class of the AL Central, just because you watch them and you say, oh, they're playing all right. Right now they're playing good. They're not just, scooting along kind of like the Twins and the White Sox have this year. But, there definitely is a reason to keep watching this team because they're not out of it yet. Once we get to the point where they're mathematically eliminated, then you're welcome to, or you can definitively say there's no reason, I suppose, if you just care about the winning and losing to tune in. I'll bring it up again. The first sentence I wrote when I answered that question was, well, first of all, I'm presuming some of you like baseball, so there's a reason to watch over the last month. But in terms of the results, there you go. That's this is not a fun division, perhaps, but it is for some reason a competitive one at the top.
Yeah, I mean, like Rusted says, I mean, they're 6 games back. And like you said, I mean, anything could happen in baseball. So I'm not really surprised if the White Sox go on a late season run. I think that it would just be frustrating, Herb, if that makes sense to you, just because it's like, why hasn't this happened yet? And I think that is probably the intriguing part. I said when we started this whole thing, baseball's a marathon, so I think I'd be going against my own thing that I said before this season and just changing it because I don't like the season's result. But I don't know, like the fact that this team would have that like last great 2 miles, right? They're at 24.2 right now, getting to that 26.2, and they're going to run it, 2 8-minute miles back to back. Like, I feel like that's what they're going to need to do to get to the top of the AL Central, especially with the way that the Cleveland schedule faces out or lays out with having, 6 straight games against Kansas City to close out the season. So I don't know how you're feeling, because I think it would be frustrating for the White Sox to actually have a great end to this marathon, even though, we're all hoping for it.
All right, here's your Herbie Sunshine. I say games in April count as much as games in September. That works in the inverse. So if the White Sox would have won a bunch of games in April, we would have been through the moon. It's like, all right, this is the team that we've been waiting to see. Awesome. Why can't that thing show up in September? I mean, it's very unlikely because we've seen 128 of them where they haven't, but hell, we expect this team to play a certain way, and why can't they play these last 34 games like we're supposed to see them play? So if they do play like that and Cleveland stumbles, this team, which is only 5 games out, I know it's been bad. They're only 5 games out, not 6. So I could see them theoretically, not likely, getting into a playoff spot by beating the Guardians and eventually winning the division. They have to win more games than the Guardians, because I think with only the 4 games left for the Guardians, they probably won't sweep those. And right now the Guardians have, I think, a 3-game lead versus the White Sox in the season series.
Yeah, and I don't want anybody that's watching and commenting to get the wrong idea. I don't think they're going to do this. I am not predicting that they're going to do this. I'm not saying everybody should stand by their TVs and their streaming devices and wait for the White Sox to go on this run, because I don't think that's going to happen. I've watched the same 5 months of baseball that you have. That being said, just to answer the question, math is math. I think I agree with most of what everybody's saying. It's possible, but they haven't given us any reason to believe that that's what's going to happen. Math is math until math says they're done, they're not technically done.
Right. And I mean, it's like the Twins are falling off just at the same time as the White Sox are. I mean, they're 2-9 in their last 11. The Twins haven't been much better, and they're dealing with much more injuries, or I think concerning injuries, than the White Sox are. The White Sox
have a lot of injuries.
Yeah, but I mean, this 2-9 stretch, would you blame it on injuries?
I think recent. Well, you shouldn't even say recently, because injuries has been a season-long problem. I think what we're seeing lately is that those problems are never going away. I mean, this day that they talked about for months and months, oh, wait till we're healthy. The day is coming when we're going to be healthy. That day's never going to come. And it's not going to come at this point. There is going to be a point probably in the middle of next month when some of these guys do come back. Tim Anderson's going to come off the IL. We're probably going to see Aaron Bummer for the first time in a very long time. Michael Kopech's supposed to be back, and you would think that Luis Robert will get out of his day-to-day, purgatory here with that wrist for at some point. But the injuries have piled up in a way that nobody can get any rhythm. And I think people have undervalued the impact of the injuries. I mean, I think there have been just so many and just nonstop. That being said, certainly it's not all bad luck, right? I mean, there have been things that we have pointed to time and time and time again that are not bad luck, that are just, they're playing bad. And that, again, two things can be true. They could have been crushed by injuries, and they could have not responded well to those injuries at the same time.
Yeah, and I think right now I was looking through the schedule, and this is kind of the laying the groundwork section. And I was talking to our friend Herb, Alex Rude, and he said, looking at the next 12 games, and that was counting the 3 against Arizona. They have 3 games against Arizona, 3 games against Kansas City, 3 games against Minnesota, and 3 games against Seattle. You look at the next 9 games. It's just that the White Sox put themselves in a hole, right? If they end up, let's say they win 3 straight series, that'd be absolutely ridiculous. But let's say they go, 6-3, they end up going, and here's the remaining opponents: 3 games against Kansas City, 9 games against Seattle, 3 games against Seattle, 9 games against Minnesota, 4 against Oakland, 2 against Colorado, 4 against Cleveland, 6 against Detroit, and 2 against San Diego.
San Diego, I messed that one up.
Oh, well, oops. Anyways, you see, though, the 3 losses here against Arizona. You have the 9 games up against Kansas City, Minnesota, and Seattle. I think it's an important, or they just got more important, because if they ended up going 8-4 against in those 12 games, I think they'd be in a really great spot with this division. Bad thing is they've already wasted 3 of those losses here,
I think we've gotten to the point where we know it doesn't matter who they play. They just have to score runs. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they've played, how many times have we talked about, they got a good stretch coming up where they can make up some ground? Their season-long schedule has been easy, right? I mean, the whole entire season has been the quote-unquote easy part of the schedule. And here they are, 2 games under 500. They've had so many of these stretches where it's like, now's the time. Look at all the teams you're going to play. They're no good. Well, and they didn't do anything with it. So again, they can't be expected to do something with it now until they prove us wrong. But they haven't proven otherwise to this point.
You're not wrong. I think Josh Nelson said it on the Sox Machine podcast today. Since June 13th, they've had the easiest schedule in baseball. I think they're only 36-34, or I think they might be 34-36. The inverse on that. I mean, like it hasn't been a smooth ride here. The White Sox are 2 games above 500 against the easiest schedule. So what are you really expecting against these type of teams? And especially Seattle, who's a playoff team.
Not much at all. I mean, as Vinny said, when I was making that remaining games chart, I was thinking about putting home and away. I was like, it doesn't matter. The White Sox don't play well at home. They don't play well on the road. They play average at both. And so it doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter necessarily where they play. Grab dubs. No one cares at the end of the day when they look at the schedule and when they look at the record and they say you won 86 games. That's enough to win the AL Central. Get your ass in there. They don't care who you beat. If you beat the Royals all the time or the Tigers all the time, you're a representative of your division. Get in the playoffs and do something.
Yeah, and I guess it's just, again, going back to the word uninspiring, not inspiring that they just lost 3 games against Arizona and are 2-9 against Arizona. You want them to play with that fire. You want them to play with that passion. And that's something that the PHNX guys said about the Diamondbacks in this series, is that they played with fire. Going back to that Johnny Cueto statement, they haven't played with that much fire or the fire to win games since that statement's been made. They lost the next game after he said that. So it's not like they've been showing up day to day with that fire. Chicago, you show up with fire because you've already got the best coverage for your favorite teams. So get fitted in the best sports gear around. Foco has got you covered from Soldier Field to the French Room, north or south side, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leader in sports merch and collectibles, Foco. Looking for the perfect gift for the football fan in your life? Foco's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. Check out Foco.com or click the link in the YouTube description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. We love the Dallas Keuchel Gold Glove bobblehead that they have, but they have some awesome, great City Connect jerseys as well, and some bobbleheads. So definitely check those out if you are looking for some new bobbleheads. You're looking for some new flip-flops. You're looking for new hoodies, some signs, bobbleheads. Check out Foco.com, FOCO.com, and use code CHGO for 10% off all non-presale items. Herb has had a coughing fit and hopefully is not dying. But Vinny, all right, you're back. Let's look at some 500 stuff, because we keep mentioning, the White Sox. We're not really sure what to expect. 21 times this year, they have been at 500. So we can kind of expect 500 from this team. And looking at the schedule too, looking at the way that they've played Kansas City and looking how they've played against Brady Singer, I think you could count them down for a loss against Brady Singer. So I think that they're probably going to end up losing tomorrow. So then you would have to win against Kansas City on Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday at Minnesota to get back up to 500. But looking at the most time spent at 500, because I feel like this is now a record the White Sox might be competing for. The 2010 Oakland A's went 81 and 81. They spent 33 games at 500. The 2011 Toronto Blue Jays went 81 and 81. They spent 33 games at 500. The 2019 Arizona Diamondbacks, they went 85 and 77. They had 30 games at 500, and all of those came in their before their 132nd game of the year. So they had the quickest or most games at 500 in their first 132 games. So 30 was the most, to just give you that bar. The White Sox, I think, have played 128 games so far. So they're not there yet. If you could flash the screen again, Steven. Last year, the 2021 Philadelphia Phillies, they finished 82 and 80. They had 25 games at 500, and your White Sox right now, 22 games at 500. So my question to you guys, will the White Sox be the most 500 team ever in baseball history? They need 11 more games at 500 to tie the 2010 and 2011 Blue Jays and A's.
I don't believe so. I think the White Sox will get to 500 a couple more times in the season and then choose a side, either winning a lot of games or losing a lot of games. So they'll just be this mid in that category too. It won't be the best 500 team of all time. Don't even get that record. Damn,
yeah, I mean, I think maybe like this has been the season, right? Like this has been the season that's just one step forward, one step back. I mean, just floating right around 500. If they're going to play the last month like they did the first five, yeah, maybe they could match that game right there. But to be the most 500 team in baseball history, you probably got to go back through a lot more seasons than just since 2010. I'm guessing they've played a lot of baseball here. I'm guessing there's been a lot of 500 teams.
That's true. Well, there have been some like perfect 500 teams. Sarah Slang during the COVID lockout actually put together the most 500 teams in MLB history. So I found that article, and there are some teams that went like 81 and 81 with a 0 run differential. The one thing that we've noticed with the White Sox, they've been negative the entire year with their run differential. So I don't really think we can expect them to do that. But the 1983 Padres, they went 81 and 81 with a 0 run differential. And the 1922 White Sox went 77 and 77 with a 0 run differential.
So are this White Sox team might not even be the most 500 team in White Sox history.
That's true, but if they do it for 81 games, that's more important. I think they would edge out the 22 team, the old famous 22 team.
100 years to the day.
Yeah, 100 years. They're just celebrating that historic team.
I'm guaranteed there was something more historic going on in 1922.
They beat Walter Johnson, so that probably had to be historic. How many times has that guy beaten? Like 7 times in his career?
Yeah,
old Walter Johnson with the old, wind-up fastball. Come on, that guy threw like 91. That was crazy.
I don't think you're ever going to see another Walter Johnson in baseball. It just
Johnson.
Doesn't seem like a very common name. You might see a Walt Johnson, but not a Walter.
You see Stone Garrett. I thought that was a great name.
It's true. His name was flipped. He had a last name for his first name and a first name for his last name.
Garrett Stone. It sounds like a deodorant actor.
What?
I don't know. What does it sound like?
What is a deodorant actor?
A guy that would act in a deodorant commercial. Nothing more, nothing less.
Wow, that's very specific.
Garrett Stone. That seems like a deodorant guy. I don't know.
Hi, I'm Garrett Stone. I'm a deodorant actor.
I'm showing up for the role of deodorant guy with sweaty pits. That's me.
You're limiting yourself. I don't know if you can make a living being only a deodorant actor.
Hey, I mean that's the only job you can secure. I mean it's not Garrett Stone's fault. Sarah Sling continued. There were the 84 Angels. They were 81 and 81 with a -1 run differential. The 89 Expos were 81 and 81 with a +2 run differential, and the 84 Twins were 81 and 81 with a -2 run differential. So the White Sox again fighting for history here. I don't think they make it, but they have 6 games. Their next 6 games are against division opponents. They'd have to go, they're 2 games back, so they'd have to go 4-2 against the Twins and Royals. Do we think that they will do that at least? Herb
to get to what?
to 500.
That's
the important
just by
thing.
an arbitrary
after 6 games. So I mean, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to map through the season. I'm just trying to think like when can they get to 500? They go 4-2 over the next 6 games. It's another spot where that would be like the 22nd time this year, 23rd time this year. They're at 500.
Are you going to shave your beard if they don't get there by that day?
I don't think so. I don't think so. We don't need to do that. I've shaved enough hair in our office.
And I still got
the air conditioner.
Shave and or frost tip my hair. So
yeah, what are you doing?
Eventually. Whatever you guys want me to do. I don't care.
No. I mean, like I
think the shaving my head is not a punishment.
We put the name.
I shave my head all the time.
We put the name. We put the call out there for someone to come and bleach.
Frost my tips.
Yeah, frost Herb's tips. And no one weirdly took us up on that. So if anyone wants to frost Herb's tips, DM one of us on Twitter, probably Herb or I. I don't think Vinny needs that popping up in his DMs.
Sounds dirty.
Ooh,
hope not. We're not dirty. We're just my hair.
Let's go to
boy
something
band style.
Let's go to something dirty now. Johnny Cueto, he just had a bad outing against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I like JJ Stankovic's question in your mailbag. Where would the White Sox be without Johnny Cueto? And we kind of had the question, should the White Sox re-sign Johnny Cueto? So we can kind of have this discussion right here. Where would the White Sox be, though, Vinny, if they did not have Johnny Cueto on their team?
I have a feeling they'd be right around 500, Sean. No, listen, Johnny Cueto's been fantastic. This is not to take anything away from a guy who has been just phenomenal for them, really. I mean, every time he pitches, we sing his praises constantly. His ability to go deep in games, his ability to keep runs off the board. He has been the White Sox second best pitcher this year. Obviously, Dylan Cease is in Cy Young contention. He has been arguably their most consistent pitcher this year. He has been terrific, and obviously there's a lot of people who like what he does with some of the comments that he's made off the field too. Bringing perhaps an attitude that could be a little needed in this clubhouse. But guess what the White Sox record is in games where Johnny Cueto has pitched? Because the answer is 9-10.
Oh,
and
I read the
again,
article.
This is not Johnny Cueto's fault, right? This is the offense for the most part not being able to come through consistently enough to back up all these great outings that he's turned in. And so when you think about that, you think to yourself,
do we lose?
He's thinking.
Right?
Oh, there he is.
No, sorry. You
like,
literally said you think about, and then I was left to think for about 5 seconds.
Sorry, you think about who he replaced in this rotation, Dallas Keuchel.
Gold Glover.
Yes, many times. And you think if Dallas Keuchel made all the starts that Johnny Cueto did, would they have a much different record?
Yes.
9-10 isn't that great. I mean, you say yes because you'd assume he'd give up more runs, right?
Yes.
But if the White Sox are only scoring 2, what does it matter how many runs he gives up, right? So I'm just trying to point out that the question is would they even be here where they're at without Johnny Cueto? And the answer is they've been basically the same team regardless of who's pitching all year. So no offense to Johnny Cueto, but maybe they would be.
I want to give offense to Dallas Keuchel though. He was 4-9. He was 4-9 with this team. So he had almost the same amount of losses.
The team was 4-9.
Yeah, the team is 4-9 when in Dallas Keuchel starts. So and he almost had the same amount of losses.
13 starts this year?
He made 13 starts this year. Isn't that crazy?
Seems like a lot.
Yeah, and I want to get to Brandon Truth's comment. He says the bullpen owns Johnny a horse, and that is correct. Like when you say they would be kind of the same, like if Dallas Keuchel pitched, he'll be leaving the 4th inning. The bullpen would be taxed so many more times.
Very true.
And we have Johnny Cueto to thank for just letting the bullpen have a day. And Michael Kopech has Johnny Kopech to thank for when he went out early in the year. Johnny Kopech picked up 5 of those innings. So, yeah, Johnny Cueto, while the record's not great with the team's record's not great, I think he has done wonders for the teams as far as the psyche, as far as actually pitching well, and then saving those bullet arms back there.
I'll point a thumb on me here, though. Dallas Keuchel, 13 starts this year, only 8 with the White Sox. They're 2-5 with him. So still much worse than 9-10. I mean, but I think that speaks to Johnny Cueto, though, Herb, because we've talked about what we wanted from a 5th starter. We didn't try to set expectations too high for Johnny Cueto. It was stay healthy, which he's done, and you've chronicled, Vinny. You know, I mean, he's getting Reynaldo Lopez running. He's talking about running, all this stuff, getting that fire going. He's got this fire. He's showing up every single damn day, and he is giving the White Sox basically every single time 6 innings and 3 earned runs or less. You see with Arizona on Friday, hey, that doesn't happen. But I think he's had 2 starts like that this entire year. Outside of that, he's been great. Dylan Cease yesterday was the first pitcher not named Johnny Cueto to go into the 8th inning. I mean, the White Sox, I don't think would even be at this good of a spot. I think they'd be 2 games below 500. They'd be much worse. I mean, they'd probably be in the lowly Diamondbacks territory if they didn't have Johnny Cueto.
Much worse, but about 4 games, give or take. Yeah,
and they'd be lowly.
To speak to your point, Sean, I think sometimes you need somebody to speak to you in your own language. A veteran like Johnny Cueto, who Reynaldo Lopez looks up to, goes to his house in the offseason. And, you know, no offense against Lance Lynn and Lucas Giolito and all the rest of the guys in the starting rotation. Johnny Cueto, Reynaldo Lopez probably looks up to and can like explain things in their native language where it's like, okay, I get it. Oh, I need to run. That's how you got the longevity. Cool. Let me get on the train with you, brother. Those type of veteran moves are needed for a team. No, the White Sox are not great, but this could be a springboard for Reynaldo Lopez being a dominant reliever in the future, or if they want to try him as a starter in the future, maybe this is a springboard for him because now it's clicked in. We've seen his pitching this year. It's been phenomenal. And a little bit of last year was kind of good too, but just that little extra oomph from a veteran leader like Johnny Cueto might do the difference from him just being a mediocre middling reliever to a guy that's going to be an elite starter or elite reliever.
And Johnny Cueto has 15 starts of 6 innings or 6 innings or more and 3 earned runs or less. That's top 20 in MLB, but I think he's tied with a couple people. So he's probably top 10 once you actually combine all the guys that are tied at 15 and stuff. So he's been fantastic. Vinny, though, you've been around Reynaldo. He's been fantastic this year. And Herb brings up the idea of him being a starter. Has that been kicked around just because obviously he's been thriving in this bullpen role? I don't know if there's a need to move him from that role, but he's been a starter before. He's got the LASIK surgery. Is there potential for Raylo as a starter again, or do you think that he is now a bullpen arm?
I think he's a bullpen arm just because even if the White Sox haven't answered that question, they've answered it with the way they've used him, right? They maybe haven't answered it in theory, but they've answered it in practice. There have been plenty of times this year when a starting pitcher has had to come out of a game early. We've seen it a couple times with Michael Kopech. Herb, you brought up the game against Texas where Johnny Cueto had to step in. We saw it just recently in Kansas City where Kopech had to come out early. We've seen, times when innings have been needed to be eaten. We've seen times when a spot starter has been needed and they've called on Davis Martin. That's because Reynaldo Lopez has pitched himself into a high leverage relief role with this team. He's pitched himself into being a guy that is at the back end of that bullpen with the Gravemans and the Hendrickses and the Kellys. This is a guy obviously who has that starter's background. Sometimes starters turn into relief pitchers. Sometimes they turn into really good ones. And this year, Reynaldo Lopez has been a really good one. I don't really think that you're going to see any changes just based on the fact that they've finally really found what works for him.
Well, hey, maybe if he's running, he's got all this energy built up. He's got the stamina built up. Maybe he takes that next edge. But I agree with you. I mean, why change what's been working? We know how, specific pitchers need to be and how routine oriented they are. So I think the fact that you would then be changing his routine again, I think that you would just be thinking that those results would change over. But look at Michael Kopech this year and what that's been like going from a bullpen to a starter. And obviously Reynaldo Lopez has done this before. He's made many starts in a White Sox uniform, many starts in the minor leagues. But I do think that the stuff would be effective. He's probably not hitting 100 like he is coming out of the bullpen. Those guys are giving everything that they can, where most guys are just saving themselves up throughout their start. And that's why you see Carlos Rodon and Justin Verlander ending up emptying the tank and kicking up their velocity in like the 7th or 8th inning because they know their start's about to be ending. I think it would be a little foolish to do so. I think I would rather see them re-sign Johnny Cueto. And I think that he's an interesting case just because he is so old, but we hear about the stories of him taking care of his body and the way that he has performed. It's been really interesting to see. And the results haven't been All right, well, the results have been good, but the predictive stuff like his FIP, how hard he's been hitting, his Sierra, his XFIP, kind of lead that maybe the Johnny Cueto stuff won't last. So would you extend Johnny Cueto hurt?
Yes. I just think he has so many intangibles that you don't see. You don't see like the work off the field that I said translates to the other people in the clubhouse. You don't see all the talking points he has. These people see him as a leader. Andrew Vaughn, as Vinnie reported, said that what got you guys playing better versus I think it was the Kansas City Royals, Detroit. Okay. Yeah. It was Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto brought us this fire. Those things you can't like put a finger on and can't put a number on. And what he's done for this team, and even though this team is disappointing, is brought some fire, some energy, some professionalism, and great pitching too. Understanding that you don't need 98 to win. You don't need a devastatingly great slider to win. He has good stuff, not great stuff, but he just knows how to place it for weak contact. And that's a good thing for Michael Kopech and Dylan Cease and Lucas Giolito to learn, because Lucas 100% needs to learn that, how to work with lesser stuff and get people out still. He should be spending the summers or the winter in the Dominican or wherever Johnny lives and get some lessons from him, do some horse riding, do some running, and learn how to do that cutter, like two-seamer too.
Lucas is really tall to ride a horse. I'm not sure if that works.
His feet would be on the ground.
Yeah.
The horse rides him,
I mean, he's what? Isn't he like 6? He's like 6'7" or something, isn't he? I don't know if you're allowed to. Isn't like, how they got at a theme park? They got the roller coaster. You must be this tall to ride the roller coaster. They might have you might have to be this short to ride a horse kind of situation. I'm not sure Lucas could pull that off.
Now I want to see if there's like photos of Andre, because he's a Frenchman, so maybe Andre the Giant's out there riding a horse. That would give us a true test. If a 7-footer can ride a horse, then maybe. I'm just trying to think of people who might be riding their horse in their celebrity life.
Sure, Andre the Giant's got a weight issue too that you might need to worry about if you're a horse. Those small ankles on the horse. I don't know.
He wasn't always that big, There's a photo of him next to a horse. And he clearly is not shockingly bigger than the horse.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be the horse that he jumped on.
Maybe that was the wrong example to use in Andre the Giant. I do want to go to one of the final questions that you had, Vinny, in your mailbag, and I think it was a good one from Anthony Shulo. Based on what we've seen so far, what are the top 3 things that you would do with this team in the offseason? Number one, I think that we would all have is power outage. So let's talk about that. How would you address the power outage for the Sox?
In any way that you need to. I mean, seriously, I think that has been such a problem. If you had to pick, listen, there's a lot of reasons the White Sox have failed to live up to the expectations that they had for them. Number one, along with bad injury luck, is probably that they have not hit home runs. And that is something you have to fix immediately. They need to know, is it because they're receiving the wrong messages? Is it because they're not listening to the right messages? Is it because they just don't have the right players to hit enough home runs? And if the answer to all those questions is yes, you need to change all 3 of those things. I mean, it is just, this is the number one issue for them. They need to figure it out. If that means a tough decision, like, going out and making a coaching change, or going out and adding a high-priced free agent, or going out and maybe having to move or make a tough decision on one of these core players that you have just to free up space, be it financial space or roster space, to bring in some pop, because that is been just such a problem for this team this year. And I think the reason that it is going to be so challenging to address is that I think we'd all agree they've got guys on the team that should be able to hit for power. And so, I think you could reasonably say, well, this same lineup, given in a regular year under optimal circumstances, is that home run hitting lineup. We have faith in that. A lot of people would be very upset if that were the case. And you do run the risk of repeating this, which is the number one thing you can't do, is have this be a repeat situation next year as to what happened this year. But yeah, power has got to be the number one priority for Rick Hahn this offseason in any way, that it needs to be done. That doesn't necessarily just mean go to the top of the free agent list, sort by home runs and sign that guy. Maybe it is, but it doesn't mean that it's only that. And they need to take every avenue to try and fix this.
I think you have to have the conversation of, Jerry, I got to have freedom. If you're Rick Hahn, you got to have freedom to make the moves that you need to make. And I need the manager to be underneath me. So You either replace Tony La Russa, or you give me the autonomy to tell him what to do, and he has to do it, or I can fire him, type of thing. Because this situation they have right now it can't sustain, where the general manager can't do things because the manager has more power than he is. And I don't necessarily 100% know that's up to the nth truth, but I know that manager was hired without the general manager's stamp of approval. So I need this general manager and the manager to be on the same accord, on the same page. And then after that, yeah, go get some more power on this team. Let Rick Hahn do his things. If you give him the team and you give him the ability to rebuild the team like you did in 2016, let him finish it off. Let him do his job. Now, does Rick Hahn deserve to come back necessarily? I think, if they let Rick Hahn go in this offseason, I would not say that was a mistake. I would say maybe it's time for him to go. But if they're going to keep him, let him do his job. Because we know when given his own devices, he's all right doing his job. I'm not saying he's great because, he's only won, 2 postseasons in 11 or 9 years. Most of that was rebuilding. But I would give the man a chance to do the job that he was paid for instead of usurping his power with a guy that maybe the game's passed him by. So either let Tony walk or have Rick have more power than Tony.
If he's an RI GM, though, wouldn't an RI GM build a 500 team? I don't know. I don't know if Rick needs to stay. I would love for them to hire somebody from like the Astros. That's what Baltimore did. Baltimore looks a hell of a lot better than they have. And that's just because they added a couple new faces to their organization. So I think signing free agents with a focus on power would be a good addition, like Vinny's saying. I think Herb restructuring of the organization would be a good way to phrase that, because I also think that we could add them adding more people to their analytics department and helping that department out, just because they have the lowest staffed analytics department in Major League Baseball. So I'd like to see that improved. I think that people would love to say, if you're reorganizing how the front office talks to the coaching staff, maybe fix the coaching staff as well, so we can just kind of put all of that into your thing. I think the third and final thing that I would like to see is changes with the injuries. I think that, you talked about it in your mailbag, Vinny, with the Luis Robert stuff, like fans wondering when he's going to play. We see him getting subbed in as a pinch runner, but he can't pitch hit. We see Eloy Jimenez not be able to play, but he's able to pinch hit. We see Leury Garcia have one rehab game and then he's up, but we see Yoan Moncada fight through 2 innings in Baltimore, but apparently his injury was too much to deal with and he has to go on the IL. So I would love to see the White Sox just handle injuries differently. I do feel like they are very hesitant to put guys on the injured list when possibly necessary. And I think that they are, honestly, we've talked about this a little bit, they are also too quick to pull guys off of the injured list as well. Basically having them do their rehab while they're at the MLB level. So I would love to see the White Sox let guys take their time when coming back from injuries, and also just act quicker when it comes to injuries. A guy like Luis Robert, who can't swing a bat like this, he might need 10 days, and just make that decision now, because if you are going to pinch run him and he's not going to be able to hit in 10 days, well, then you just wasted a day where he could have been resting and here sooner and helping out your team sooner. Because if we think the White Sox will be in it until the end of this year, it doesn't matter if Luis Robert's going to take 10 days off. If you're going to have a great Luis Robert for the last 25 games or whatever that may be. So I would just love to see those 3 changes. The White Sox going out and adding.
That's all you'd love to see, is just
you
like to see an entirely different organization. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sell the team. Basically.
Right.
They're
lowly. I'm sure they'll get right on that, Sean.
They're lowly. Hey, we are asked and answered. We gave a thorough answer. That was the top 3. What was too much?
I think it's a little ridiculous to think that the entire organization is going to be fired this year.
I said one guy. I said fire the hitting coach. I didn't say anything about that.
You said they should they need to change the entire front office and the entire coaching staff, and then bring in a bunch of free agents, and then also change all the training staff.
My bad.
Who's left? You're very happy with the marketing department?
I am very happy with the marketing department.
Christina Riley's the best.
I was building off of Herb's point by saying reorganize the organization the way that Rick Hahn and them are leveled. I was just saying Herb was saying an all right GM would build an all right team. They're 500. That's all I was saying. If Rick Hahn's the GM next year, I'm probably expecting that. If Tony La Russa is the manager next year, I'm expecting that. I was just saying, fire the hitting coach. I think also hire people is one thing that I said as well. Hire more people in the analytics department. Hire somebody from the Astros as well.
Yeah,
I'm a job giver.
You wanted all these
job
brand
maker.
you wanted a brand new organization, really, is what you want. That's what you're asking for.
And
this is a real ship of Theseus situation. If you replace all the parts, is this still the Chicago White Sox? Who knows?
Maybe
they're
over
my head over there.
Maybe they're the Arizona Diamondbacks.
But I was speaking in the reality of that. I think that Rick Hahn's coming back. I think that Tony La Russa is coming back. So I will go there with those two being back, and then having that situation being sussed out. But yeah, if I was the owner or whatever of this club, I would not have either of those two guys back or Kenny Williams. But that's a pipe dream.
All right. Well, we'll continue our pipe dreams, and hopefully we'll have more baseball to base our pipe dreams off of. They still got to play the rest of the 162, and we'll be covering that tomorrow as the White Sox take on the Royals. It is Lucas Giolito versus Brady Singer on Tuesday at 7:10. On Wednesday at 7:10, it's Lance Lynn versus Chris Bubich, and on Thursday, September 1st, we're already in September at 1:10. Johnny Cueto will face TBD. Who is my favorite pitcher. So we will join you at 6:30 tomorrow for the CHGO White Sox pregame show. Vinnie Duber will be out at the park chatting it up with Tony and the players after tomorrow's game, and then he'll be joining us on the live post-game show. Thank you to Vinny for joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber, and make sure to become a member at allchgo.com to check out his very in-depth mailbag where he answered your questions from the Discord chat and also answered some questions from Twitter. Make sure to follow Herb Lawrence. He's a CHGO White Sox community leader on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. And make sure to follow me, Sean Anderson, on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Fleetwood Mac for their 1979 album, Tusk. We'll talk to you tomorrow for White Sox versus Royals. Goodbye.